We live in a world full of video content, and sometimes the pressure to create videos can feel a little overwhelming. The art of great cinematography is something we think is only reserved for the pros, but the concepts of fantastic filmmaking can be applied to any video. So let's talk about the 5 top tips for creating video content while I do something that I'm not very good at: baking. Baking is probably the weakest of my culinary skills, but it gives me a chance to demonstrate some easy to do filming techniques. Before you jump into filming your video, think about the story you want to tell. Write out a script or some points to get across. Think about what's going to engage your audience. What is your beginning, middle, and end? Our best asset in budget filmmaking is story, because it's free. So, even if you're just conveying information like I am, try and do it within story. It's like making sure you have all the right ingredients before you bake. When you're thinking about filming something, think about where you might film it. Location is everything. Here's some things to consider when choosing a great location. Is it interesting? Is it contextual to what you're talking about? Is the lighting good? Does it give you lots of angles? Is it too boomy or echoey? And more on those in a moment. Choosing a great location can make your videos so much more exciting to watch and much more enjoyable to film. So choose wisely, like measuring your ingredients. So, a moment ago we spoke about angles, and this is probably one of the most simple things you can do to improve your video. Once you've chosen your location, think about where you're going to position your camera and yourself. Think about shooting into a space rather than up against a wall. Think about the depth of your shot, what's in the foreground and the background. Make sure your camera is set at eye level, because we don't want any double chins. And if you're feeling fancy, think about capturing some of those little cutaway shots that help bring interest and cover up a load of mistakes. It's also important to consider whether you're filming in landscape or portrait, because each platform these days is different. So make sure you keep up to date with the guidance for the platform that you're going to be posting to. Now that you've got your angles set, it's time to check the lights. Cameras can't see as well as us in the dark, so providing enough light is key to your camera behaving itself. I am a 3D object that you are viewing on a 2D object, so we need to use lighting to show that. Find a window or another practical light and move it or yourself so that you're at about 70 degrees to each other, and that will help create some depth. And finally, let's talk about sound. Hearing someone clearly is probably going to be the first thing that people notice about your video. Before they think about your angles and your location, they want to hear you. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's firstly talk about mic placement. It's probably on your phone or on your camera, so make sure you're not too far away from it. It's also possibly worth investing in something like what I'm wearing, which is a lav mic that will be close to you all the time. And lastly, it's worth thinking about the location that you're in. Are you by a busy road or in a loud coffee shop? Because right now, around me, you can hear 2 things. You can hear the oven and you can hear the kettle boiling. Now, they might not be massively distracting, but in another location they could be. It's also worth making sure that if there is some background noise, that you can see it on screen, because that will give some context to the viewer. So, this has been Filmmaking 101. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. See you next time.